Welcome to our YouTube channel. In today's session, we are going to create a to-do list app using React hooks and styled components. Here is a quick overview of our final project. As you can see, we can add a task by capturing using the input field and click on the add button. Pending tasks and completed tasks, keeping count of what has been completed and what has not been completed. Once we complete a task, we click on the task and it will put a cross to signify that it has been completed. In our app, we will use the useState hook, which is a React hook that allows us to use state in a functional component. We will also use styled components, which is a library that is used in React app for styling and allows the use of CSS in JavaScript. If you would like to learn more about styled components, I'll leave a link below. So let's get into the code. Our first task is to create a React app, and I'll use npx create React app to-do list. If you're using a Mac, you can use the yarn create React app to-do list. Creating our app has been completed. So let's open it in Visual Studio Code. I will start by cleaning out unwanted stuff. In app.css, I will clear out everything. In app.js, I will remove other stuff. I will then type the text to-do list and save all the changes in my app. I will start the app using npm start. I can see our text to-do list is being displayed on our app, meaning our app is running okay. I will then stop the app, go and do npm install styled components. At this point, I'm ready to start designing the UI. So our first task in designing the UI is to import the styled components. I will then create our first component, which is our container. This container is essentially a div, but we will apply some CSS styling using the styled components. Inside our container, I will add a h2 tag, which will be holding our header to-do list. Then followed by a text, and then again followed by a button component. For the button and text components, I will just copy the CSS. I will also leave a link below that will be a repository for the final app where you can access it. We will also have a tasks wrapper, which will have a tasks count component, which will be holding our pending tasks and completed tasks. We can now run our app at this point in time and see how it looks, the UI looks like. As you can see, we need to center our app in the middle. And in addition to that, our input text and the add button should be on the same row. Let's fix that. I will go ahead and wrap everything inside the container with a div. Our input text and the add button are now aligned. We just need to check why the app is not centered in the middle. Oh, there is a bug here. In our container component, align item center, that center should not be in quotes. That's how the style components work. Our UI is completed. Now let's add functionality so that when you click on the add button, you can add a task. Starting with our text component, which is an input field, we will have a value, and in addition to that, we will have an event handler function that will be setting state anytime somebody is typing a value. We will use the useState hook that will be used for setting the state of the input value. We will initialize the input to an empty string using the useState hook. Similarly, on the button component, we'll have an onClick event handler that will be handling the clicks from the user. We will also use the useState hook to keep track of completed task count. That will tell us how many tasks have been completed. Another variable that we will have is the to-do list array. That array we will initialize it with an empty array. It will have a list of all the to-do items that we have. Our to-do list is an array which will have a list of objects of to-do items. Each to-do item will be in this form. It will have an ID, which is a unique ID, a task, which is the item that the user has input, and also completed, which is a true or false flag that will tell us whether a task is completed or not. When a user adds a to-do item and clicks on the add button, this handleClick method will be called. So we'll use a set to-do list hook to add that items to our list. So to do that, we'll take the previous, which is a list of to-do list, and using the spread operator, add this object, our new object, into the list. This is some ES6 syntax, JavaScript syntax. Set input will use it to initialize back to an empty string. And finally, we want to display our list of tasks. So we will come here and come up with an ordered list of tasks. Using the map function, we will iterate through the to-do list array and display a list item for every item that is available in the to-do list array. Using a list component, which we have defined using the styled component, we will display the list item. It will need several properties. Completed, which will be a flag that will show whether the item is completed or not, and the ID as well. OnClick handler will handle complete, which whenever a user clicks on an item, it becomes a completed item. We can go ahead and define the handle complete function. Well, this is the full handle complete function, and all it's doing, you have a to-do list that is already currently existing. So I'll create a copy and put it in a list. Then I'll have an empty item and initialize an empty object, call it item. Based on the ID that we pass to this function, I'll check if the task is completed or not. If it is pending, we will make it completed. If it is completed, we will toggle it back to pending. And that's what this function is doing here. Finally, we want to display the count of pending tasks and completed tasks. Completed tasks will essentially be the task count, completed task count, whereas the pending tasks is the count of all items in the to-do list minus the completed task count. At this point, our app is completed. Let's test it. Yes, so we can see our app is running, and yes, our app is working as expected. This brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please hit the like and subscribe. See you next time.